15-minute game on ICC. I'm reaching nearly my peak rating of, I think it was 2200 on the 15 minutes. 2200 actually, so I'm 2 points away. I'm about to be spectacularly hammered, I think. I don't want to be too negative about it, but probably mysterious GM rated 1800 is about to crush me next, which is what usually happens. So at 2198, I'm about to embarrass myself now. Take the risk. But while we're waiting, is there a master game to have a quick look at? There's Optimism. Oh yeah. Matthias 3287. While waiting, GM or something. Who's this guy? So I'm playing bullet chess, as most of the GMs do. Maxime Legrave. Blimey, Legrave. He's one of the top French grandmasters. So the intuition on these guys is probably pretty good. It's the exchange up and snapping up the pawns at the moment. Is this break dangerous? I wouldn't have thought so. He's just lost his centre. Okay, we've got a game. Okay, anyway, so okay, let's turn this off. We'll look at it another time or something later. Mind you, it's a bullet game. Quickly just finish that off. Well, White's lost the night. I was getting mated. He just got mated. Okay, let's close that. So here, I think I'm going to play that system with Bishop C5. No, I didn't want to play that. I've got another system in mind. I'm looking at sparse repertoire. G6, Bishop G7, Knight Ge7. Has this guy lost any games recently? Let's have some hope. He has. So maybe this guy's beatable. So the Kasparov system: avoid Knight F6, play Knight G7 to play F5 later. So like D6 and F5 later with, I think, a reasonable position. Keeping control of D4, of course, here. But is White really going to play D3? Okay, so he might want to play Bishop G5 soon. If I play D6, Bishop G5, there might be F6. Do I want to play H6? H6 looks like a waste of time at the moment. I'm thinking D6. I'll play D6, I think. Let Bishop G5 happen. Okay. So, Bishop G5, F6. Alright, so now F5, is that refuted? Well, B4, E4, attacking the knight. So he's going to have to be careful. If he plays Bishop G5, he could do that. H6 takes, knight takes, he's got a grip on D5. He might want to do that. So do I try and discourage that with H6? Big question here. Waste time with H6 to stop Bishop G5, takes E7, or and now this B4, B5 tap, maybe I've got Knight D4. Bit controversial, but I think I'm tempted for H6 and now B4. Could play A5 first, I guess, to share the A file. I'll do that first to encourage A3. Get an active A rook on A8. Okay. So if H6 here, B4 I can take. Maybe after B5 later there's Knight D4, possibly. So I'm still tempted. Okay, I think I'm going to choose this one. It's a big decision really. If he swaps this off, you can imagine White gets a 9 grip. Say Knight E1 to C2, there's 9 grip on the D5 square. So I think I'm going to play H6. I'm just going to... Hold on a sec. I have a bad feeling about this game so far. But anyway, I'll take here and play F5. I think White's got this small advantage. I don't like to be positionally done over, but at the moment this looks like a nicely played, masterfully played game from white. So knight d4, I mean, looks kind of standard stuff as well at the same time. If I play knight a5, is that knight going to be a target? Possibly. Knight d4, I'm not really sure about the structural damage. f4 is highlighted as white's control, unless I play g5, knight g6 later. So possibly knight d4, but then, I don't know, knight d2. Is e4 a move? Takes, it's got takes here. Is e4 actually a move here? I wouldn't have thought so. I think I've got to move this knight somewhere. I wonder. Knight a5. Knight to a5. Knight's a target. Knight d4. Knight's a target anyway. We can go back to e6 if he doesn't take. If he takes, that might be playable. So okay, I'll go with that, knight d4. I'm not that happy with the position here. Okay. It's got a good control over d5. Also f4. This bishop's blocked in by the pawn on f5 at the moment. Maybe bishop e6, possibly. Knight f4, there's bishop f7, I lose that pawn. Okay, it's not looking that great. Maybe g5, knight g6 is a plan. I could try that one. I might try it. So knight g6. Coming up. I'll try to put pressure on the e file later. No, it's very tricky. The rook might have rook a2 at some point, so knight g6, rook e8, knight e5 or f4. We might try and make use of this diagonal. I wonder about b6 actually, c6, knight c7. Where will the rook go? I think that'll be okay if he plays b6. Is this pawn a bit vulnerable? I just don't like this iron grip on d5 here at the moment. So what do I want to play? Knight g6 and f4, and maybe in the future rook e8 and bishop g4 or something. I was thinking a lot about this position. Is it kind of tricky? That seals the fate of this bishop, unfortunately. I can't move this without losing this b pawn, so this looks unpleasant. I could try knight g6 here. I think I will try knight g6. So takes at the moment. Doesn't seem to be a disaster on g5 at the moment. Is this knight kind of, it's always got b4 to go to, it's not really a problem knight, it's got b4. Can I coordinate rooks one day on e2? That's not really that harmful. I think white's dead solid here actually. Not much to attack. If ever I play bishop e6 and c6, you just take and knight b4 and c6 is dropping. Diagonal's a disaster. So it's an unpleasant position so far. Okay, getting tortured. So I wonder G4, that G4 H5 H4. I don't think it's really going to cause white a problem. Very solid position. I can't see the attacking prospects here for me. Maybe E2 is one vulnerability. If rook E8, just to one day put pressure on E2. It's not such a big deal. He's also ruled out the use of the E5 square. This F4 seems to be a very powerful, positional move. That looks a bit unusual, Queen E1. Wonder what the idea is. Unexpected. If I play rook E8, then rook A2 might have some power to it at some point. I don't know if the queen's heading for B4 or something. Or if I play rook E8 here, I think I'll give up my intentions of F5, F4. So I think rook E8. I'll give that a shot. So a bit of pressure on E2. And I've got rook A2. You can just play rook B2 if he wants. He puts pressure on D4, so that intention revealed. D4 is about to drop here. Oh dear. I thought this was getting nasty. It does get nasty after bishop B2. You can't do anything about that. D4 is dropping. Oh dear. I thought I was up for the chop in this game. The question about counterplay, bishop B2, I can't respond with C6 because it takes knight B4. Iron grip on D5. I don't know how to defend this square, this pawn after bishop B2. In fact, I can try rook A2, I suppose. Takes then take on E2. Okay, so I can wait for that. So maybe, okay, maybe bishop D7, bishop B2, rook A2. There's always rook A1. So that's C6 there. Well, taking first, then C6. I'll try that. I think it's not nice. So Queen E1 looks like a powerful maneuver to F2, in fact. And that D4 pawn. I thought D4 was a bit dislocated. This is going to be a crunch. Oh dear. A model game from White, I think. I've gone wrong somewhere in this setup. So I can imagine bishop B2, rook A2. Sorry, there's no rook A1 there anyway. I just take the bishop. Alright, it's not that easy just yet to play bishop B2. Okay, fine. Fine. So I'm being a bit too negative here. That's interesting. He's letting me dissolve this weakness if I want to take. Bit of a surprise. I think I might take that opportunity. It liberates the bishop. I'll take that opportunity, I think. Can't see anything much better. He might be on f5 soon if he plays knight takes. That's bishop d4. So bishop, he's protecting a2 as well. Maybe that was his idea. It looks a lot better though than before. Maybe I was just being a bit too negative. Okay, so c6, this might be bishop b6 or knight b6. Still that knight's a monster on there. I don't know, knight b6, I don't know, rook a3. Is rook a3 actually a move here? That might be a move. I'm tempted. I'm not sure it loses immediately, which is good news. So rook a3 will get it out of the way of knight b6's. Rook a3. I'm going to give it a shot, I think. Can't see. I hope that's not immediately terrible. Wondering about an idea of bishop. If I ever play bishop takes, I weaken f5. So one play g4, it releases the tension. This knight is just a monster on d5 here all the time. Unpleasant. Quite unpleasant still. c6 would really liberate this rook as well. I wonder if it's best to try and just sit tight here without c6. Right, so b7's under fire now. Concrete threat. If I play b6, there's always maybe the bishop d4 or knight c6. It's going to start to get unpleasant. But mind you, d3, so maybe b6 is justified here. I can't really use the queen to defend. If I use the queen, then there's takes and takes on g5. I could play g takes here, and there might be some sort of tactic on the diagonal later. G takes, or g takes, or queen h4 or something, knight h4, or g5, bishop takes. Bishop takes, interesting. Knight takes, bishop e5. That's interesting for the g file. I think I might go for this actually. G takes. So if g takes, I might have some prospect on the g file in my dreams here. b7's hanging at the moment. So we're getting close on the clock to each other. I don't want to get too short of time, but equal pegging at the moment. I think knight takes here. The knight wasn't particularly amazing anyway. If I can get this bishop d4, that would be pretty good as well. Bishop e5. I don't want to drop this pawn. I want to c5. I'll lose d6. End up losing d6. Bishop c8, does that lose material immediately? There's probably bishop d5 check. Still a bit miserable this position. But I can play queen c8 now without dropping g5. Still quite miserable indeed. Check king h7, I don't know about that. But I think I'll play it, getting short on time. This is loose as well, tactically, vulnerability on a3. Okay, so white, I prefer white here. So king h7 doesn't look good. This bishop's just hemmed in by its own pawn. Will I be able to generate any counterplay? Bishop is now attacking that rook. Okay, so if I move that rook simply to a4, is that too dangerous? I might give it a shot. Rook a4. I can't see a tactical refutation immediately. There is a tempo gainer on there, but hopefully not losing immediately to anything. So we're getting to 5 minutes each. It's transposing into a 5-minute game. As you can imagine, knight d5, bishop takes knight f6. It just shows I've got weaknesses around my king potentially. Not majorly significant at the moment. Yeah, I don't really know how to liberate the pieces here. He's being a bit of a perfectionist, it seems, thinking a lot in this position as well. Not minding he's below 5 minutes now. Will I get blown to bits here? I hope not. Okay, so there might be some threats of bishop h6 and knight f6. There's knight c7s. Okay, there's b6 maybe coming up. I'll play king h7, I think. I'm sort of thinking that looks a little bit solid anyway. King h7, I mean solid in inverted commas is, it's not really the right word, but I'm trying to make sure, well, bishop h6 I can take my king if needed. So that knight's just the monster again basically. Okay. A bit of a surprise. Now if I play rook f8 knight e7, I think he's starting to win material. He's going to win that pawn. Maybe this is the time I should try and evict, but then there's knight b6. Forking queen and rook. So this pawn looks like a goner, but then I could get rook e2 in. So maybe I should welcome this. If I play something like knight e5, I'm on d3. d4, knight c4. So get the queens off there. There's knight d3. That doesn't look bad. Rook f7 might threaten knight f6. King g6 there. He's on this one. No, he's not. I think I might welcome that with knight e5. So takes, and there's knight d3. King g6 is getting a bit messy. But rook f8. No, there's no knight e7. I can play this. There's no knight e7. Maybe it's worth one more go to keep solid here, keep things protected. 4 minutes each. It's getting a bit too tense for me now. I don't like being short on time in this sort of position. My king's a bit weak. Okay, so bishop e5 though. There might be d4. Okay, get this. Maybe this pin is useful. So f4 might be useful. Takes. Knight takes. Queen g4. f4 might actually be a liberating move here, because does he really want to get rid of his light square bishop around his king in this position? I think f4 is interesting. I hope he's not going to do a queen set. I haven't really calculated that. I think I can take. Okay, so f4, take. Well, no, f4. He takes here. Takes. Okay, I think I'm going to go for f4. Although not really sure, but it sort of should weaken his light squares a bit. I'm going to lose a pawn. It's getting a bit short on time. At least my bishop's not blocked in by that pawn on f5. And it's looking a bit more optimistic now, him going less than 3 minutes here. Okay, so takes. Well, bishop takes d4 check here with that pin. And so he can take. I don't think he can sack the queen. So bishop d4 might be on, actually. And then there's queen g7 to look forward to. There's bishop d4 though, there. to attack my queen. Rook takes c2, takes the queen. So what else? There's fg. Is he threatening knight f4? He's probably threatening nasty things here. But I'll do this. So 3 minutes to my 3-minute 27. Right. Oh, it's going to be check, so I'm going to do this because that will be check. Rook takes c2, check. So I've got pressure on b2 now, battery. That looks better. And I've also got knight h4 check on the cards. Also f4 takes knight h4 check. No, that's pinned. Can't do that. And play rook takes f4 here. For rook takes b2. Or bishop takes b2. I think bishop takes b2. Rook takes b2 might be okay. It could be doubling on the f file. Don't know actually. Rook takes b2. No, I think that might be okay. Hope. He's got queen f2 if he wants queen f7. That's really dangerous. Oh, there's knight takes f4 and queen f2. If he unpins that knight, there's knight takes f4. So what about bishop? Bishop e5. Get the, oh, now, oh dear, h4 is looking strong for h5. This pin looks as I can't get rid of it. That's pretty nasty. That pin. Queen f6. Let's check. King h8. Start munching my pawns at leisure. I think this could be pretty horrendous. Ouch. What, unless knight f8. Have I got knight f8? There's no rook f4. Hang on, there's no rook f4 just yet. I'm surprised he didn't take on c7. So we're getting down to 2 minutes each. Very unpleasant situation on the clock throughout this game. So queen e7 here. I'm going to lose one of these pawns. b6 and d5. I think I've got to. If I play that, he's got that. So I don't know if I can play queen e6, I lose that. Queen f7, I lose b7, but then queen c4. So I think queen f7, possibly. 1 minute 46 to my 2 minutes. Oh no, I'm not. He's got c4 protected. This rook is a real pain. What about h5? No, there's rook h4. It's just torture. Try and attack the rook. Queen f5 maybe. Try and get this rook evicted. 1 minute 35. What about back to g7? If I play bishop back to g7, rook f4 is okay. Let's go for this ending then. Oh, mind you, I should have played knight e6 to stop c5. Great. Well, there's knight c5 coming up. I'll try and hold on here. Blockade with knight b7. Going to lift the blockade pretty soon. Mind you, there's d5 check now. Got a minute to finish me off. But knight and bishop should be good against the rook. Actually, rook a4, knight c5 check would simplify for me. I think I can play that because the bishop's going to protect b8 against b7. It's a bit too tense, this position. What about king d7 to c6? Just trying to get the king involved. He's creating a pass pawn over there, quite nasty. Trying to get my own pass pawn working. Don't like the look of this, but still. I can play d3 next. Try and make this pawn work for me. King b7, then try and move the knight. This is getting tricky. Where can I move the knight? Okay, I'm going to lose my pawn. He might lose his. Oh dear. Oh, it's a draw. Okay, it was a tricky game.
Draw.
I felt under pressure a lot in that game. Oh dear, oh dear. I think it was, I don't know, it just felt worse a lot of this game, but yeah, interesting. I thought, no, here was that nasty pin, I don't know, nasty pin, but okay, I think knight c5 would have been a key improvement here. Knight e6, lockdown c5, that was a shame. Okay, yeah, maybe I fluffed that up a bit, or quite a bit. Comments or questions on YouTube? Thanks very much.